Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Disruptive Education live session with GETI or Global Education and Training Institute. I welcome you all in this amazing session, and we have with us Ms. Sangeeta Tandon, principal at Sri Shiksha Yatan School. She has contributed a lot for the school, and under her leadership, the school has received many awards like the Telegraph School of the Year award organized by Telegraph Foundation in 2018 and the best co-curricular activities in Lions Gurukul Award ceremony by Lions Gurukul in 2018. And apart from that, she has also bagged awards from Lions Club International for exemplary performance in the field of education in 2012 and also won a Community Service Award by the CBSE in Delhi. Also, she was awarded with the Best Teacher Award by Bodhi Bhavan's Collegiate School and received Principal of the Year award in 2019 by Lions Gurukul. We are happy to have you on this platform, Sangeeta ma'am. And today she is going to talk about how we can actually turn obstacles into opportunities. We all face obstacles in life, in business, career, relationships, finances, health, and whatnot. And I believe that that obstacles are actually they define our lives and success and happiness. That how we handle them, how we overcome them. And so today she will be discussing about how we can actually turn the obstacles into opportunities, how we can, turn our problems into possibilities. So without much ado, I would request ma'am to please take over the session.
Thank you, Preena. A very good evening to all the viewers over here. So now when Preena asked me if I would like to speak and asked me to select a topic, I said, okay, let me think about it. And I asked her because they are from Global Education and Training Institute. So before I begin, let me express my gratitude to the Institute for giving me an opportunity to express my views over here. So when Preena asked me to select a topic, they had given me some 18, 20 topics, and I decided to go with the topic which is very common. Success is turning obstacles into opportunities. And I thought to myself, so many times people have spoken on this. Should I be taking it? Then the thought came to me, isn't this the right time to speak yet again on this topic? When we are going through this pandemic, when people are talking about so many crises, what should be our attitude? What should be the approach? Of course, there are many obstacles. What is the mindset that we're talking about? How are we going to take this period? And when we look back, what are we going to think? Did we turn it into opportunities? Did it lead us to some kind of success, some achievement, some kind of accomplishment, whether it's big, small? Or are we going to say that we've lost everything? Well, in every opportunity, there is an opportunity. Every obstacle, there is an opportunity. I beg your pardon. And it is possible. And why did I take this topic? Well, I'm going to tell you a very short story, and it's very personal. So it so happened that after when I was doing my post graduation and I was a young girl, I got married very early. I must have been just 21, not even 21. And thereafter, I had my two children. I was fairly decent in academics. And once you have children and you're shifted to a new place, you're so engaged in child rearing, which of course is not an easy task. But of course, by God's grace, it's something that you look forward to in life. There was no time for me to go in for any kind of education or for any job. So for 13 years, I had to stay at home, take care of my children. And those are very fulfilling years, undoubtedly. But often I would ask myself a question. I studied so much. And I was so keen to take up a profession. What should I do now? I was a housewife. And of course, housewives are very hard working, whole day they work. But there's some part of you which always strives to find a recognition, to do something that you would like to do in life. So after 13 years, I decided, since I've done my post graduation, let me become a teacher. I always loved teaching. Two reasons: I love teaching and I love children. So it was a very easy decision for me. But the point was, you're in a new city. How are you going to get admission into a B.Ed college? So I was from one state to the other state. Getting admission was so difficult. Wherever I went, people told me no, but we do not have a small 5% is there. You have to sit for that. And there's so many applicants. You may get it, you may not get it. I did not even have my books. And a full house load, I would say, running the house, taking care of two small children. One was, I think, in class one, the other in class five, a girl and a boy. And they were also doing quite okay in academics. And I was quite particular about their studying part. Now, how to get admission? And after 13 years, would I remember? Then I came to know about a college where there was an entrance examination. That was Loreto College. Very reputed, very good, but they said they have an admission test. And by the time I came to know, there was just barely, 5 days left. I did not have my books. What to do? I thought of a friend who was a professor in a college. I called her up. I said, can I borrow some books from you? Because I've selected two subjects and you have the same subject. She said, okay, she'll remember. And she happened to be her son and my son, they were in the same school. So very excitedly, I walked up to school thinking she'll get the books. But the lady forgot. But that was okay. But she was very helpful, nevertheless. She said, I'm so sorry. Why don't you come over to my house and take it? And so desperate I was just to brush through the books, go through the books once. I went over to her house. She had returned from the college and very supporting to her, she gave me the books. And next day was the paper. Very few days left, or very few hours left rather. I started studying. Whole night practically I studied. I just skimmed through the pages as much as I could. And then decided to go just with God and with my whatever common sense I have. I went and gave the papers. I returned from there and I was asked by my husband, how was the paper? I was quiet. There was a pause. He said, you did not do well. I said, no, I want to tell you, I have done well. Okay, so now we wait for the results to be declared. When the result came out, I saw that I was in the waiting list. Quite taken aback. That was again an obstacle. But why was I in the waiting list when I thought I had done my papers well? I went up to nuns and sisters we had. I spoke to them. I said, why did you put me in the waiting list? And the answer that they gave was, well, generally we find that married women with children, on some pretext or the other, they take off. They do not attend classes. And then I spoke to the sister and I said, have I cleared the test? She said, yes, you have cleared the test. I said, then I just want to tell you, I have two children and they have been getting the certificate for perfect attendance. If it's a reflection upon me, give me the admission. And you will not believe it, viewers. Next day, 2 days after that, whenever this was declared, my name was at the top. And that's how I got admission. And the year was not easy. With two children, again, I say, they had to study as well, doing your projects, full time you're studying. But let me tell you, that was 1 year I thoroughly enjoyed. And where did I face the obstacle? The obstacle was that, when you are young and you're writing those papers, you have speed. For me, that speed became a problem. So what did I do? I had to follow a strategy. I have been very confident about myself that I will do well only. You know how you are. Okay, I've always been doing well. I've always been ahead of my class. So when I went to that class, I was told, oh, this girl is from Delhi School of Economics. This one is the topper from North Campus. This is from the South Campus and all. I was not competing with anyone. Because you see, my competition was with myself. How to pick up speed, how to write and all that. These were certain hurdles. And then when to sit down to study. So I decided Since whole day if I'm working, I need to sleep early and I need to get up early. That is the strategy that I devised. Earlier, I had always been a night bird, but I changed my strategy. How to write the papers? The first time I wrote the paper, the answers for 3 hours, I had this excruciating pain. Moreover, I was a lefty, and we had those chairs. When the table is attached, and it is for right-handed people. I couldn't believe it. For next 24, 48 hours, the pain wouldn't go away. Then I started keeping a stopwatch with me. I would say, okay, I'm going to finish the answers and let me see if I can do it. It worked. And finally, I appeared for my exams. And I remember there were days when I would sleep for 2 hours because my children were also having the papers. And my daughter was very particular about, doing well in her class. I remember once she had a test the other day and I was so tired. I was asking her something. I dozed off. And when I opened my eyes, I thought I saw her cry. But, at the end result was very beautiful. Though maybe that year my daughter did not come first in her class, it did not matter. Perhaps she came second. And I remember my father-in-law telling me, it doesn't matter. If you want to accomplish something, you're working hard towards that. One day you will succeed. And this 13-year gap will not matter. And to many viewers who are sitting at home and they think, oh, there has been a gap, I would like to tell you. With the strategy and the hard work, actually, when I gave the exams, I was ahead of my class. I was pleasantly surprised. I was doing well. I didn't know about it. And thereafter, it was just a go ahead. Yes, there are obstacles, there are hurdles, impediments, and paths. But the thing is how determined you are. Are you willing to go ahead? And why are you thinking that going is going to be easy? It's never going to be easy. But the thing is, each day you have to think, okay, I am going to take it into stride. I am going to, if there's a problem, there's going to be resolution from my end, and I am going to solve everything and move ahead. And that is what I did. And thereafter, of course, the next 13 years, I kept on working. And in 13 years' time, from being teaching in the junior section, which I had to take up because my children were very small and the timings they suited me, I was sent up to the senior section, thereafter made the vice principal and the principal. And for the last 5 years, I've been working as a principal of Shri Shikshatan School, which is in Kolkata. So this is a small story that I'm saying. I'm just a very common person, like any other person over here. But one lesson I have learned in life that if you decide to do something, you can actually do it. So I do have this presentation over here, which I'm going to present now, and I will also talk about it. So it's the presentation now. Okay, so I'm sure you all can see my presentation. Preena, can you see my presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I will start this presentation. This is again about, like I said, success is turning obstacles into opportunities. So we go ahead. Now, there were three keywords in that. And the keywords were success, which came in first, thereafter obstacles, and then we had opportunities. And I am going to change the sequence. So I go with obstacles first, opportunities thereafter, and success. Okay, so now we say turn your obstacles into opportunities and your problems into possibilities. Very famous quote that we have heard quite often. And because obstacles, which we take as impediments, are basically challenges. And every challenge has an opportunity for action. It's up to us what we are thinking. Are we planning to go ahead, or are we going to say, no, it's over? So when we are faced with obstacles or challenges, there are three things that we have to look into. The first is how we perceive them. Are they obstacles or they are challenges? How are we going to handle them? That we have to make up our minds. And what is the strategy? Because if challenges come without a strategy, if we think we are going to move ahead, it's not going to work. So we have to be very sure of what we are going to do. So quite often when we are faced by challenges, we have to acknowledge first that there is a problem. In this context, I would like to tell you, as teacher or a principal, quite often we meet parents. And when we tell them that this is the problem with their child, with the counselor, we are seated and we're trying to tell them, but they are not willing to accept that there is a challenge or there is a problem. Until you are not willing to accept that, yes, there is a challenge which is there, how are you ever going to face it or resolve it? Second thing that we all must remember that if there is an issue, there is going to be a change. And that change will lead to growth because each experience is a growth by itself. So when we are faced by all these challenges, we need to step back and analyze. We need to see where we went wrong. What are the circumstances, situations? Many times we do not do well or we fail because of circumstances also, in spite of our best efforts. In this context, I would like to speak about my very favorite actor, who, not as an actor, but as a human being, has been very, very successful. And quite often I speak about the famous actor Amitabh Bachchan. We all remember that Amitabh Bachchan was a great hero once upon a time, and he was doing wonderfully well. He had amassed a lot of, I'm sure, wealth and all, and he started a lot of projects. But also there came a time when he really went down. He failed in political career. Even as a hero, he started getting, not the main roles, and things started going wrong, and he was in a lot of debt. And if all may remember, he got that series Kaun Banega Crorepati. He took on to that, and suddenly, like a phoenix, he rose from the ashes and he was successful. So we always must remember that. Even when it comes to our sports person also, when they fail, what do they do? They actually either have a screenshots of videos being played of what how they played and they analyze. And then they decide as to how they're going to bring about that change. But we must focus on the right issues and do not overanalyze, because when we overanalyze, what happens when we overanalyze, we may become very critical of everything. So we need to have a correct attitude, a correct perspective towards things. What happens in life when you're going down, everything you see negative all around you everywhere. But one thing we have to remember, there are times when we cannot control situations, but we can definitely control our attitude and approach. Mind is very naughty. It always takes us to negative things. We always think and we fear of what will go wrong. But a lot of effort is required, a lot of willpower is required to set ourselves to shut down those thoughts and to think about positive things. Only if we are positive are we going to achieve something in life. And problems will be there in whatever we do. We also need to be patient with ourselves. Many a times we get very impatient with people, with situation, and most of all with ourselves. And we start thinking so negative. So when we're having a conversation with ourselves, don't start actually analyzing or being too critical about yourself. Be careful how you talk to yourself. Isn't it strange? Yes, because you are listening. I also remember this part that earlier when we would be playing, our sports people would be playing and they would go for an international, maybe a sports meet or maybe a cricket match. They would get so psyched out about that white skin and all that they would lose the matches. And then they decided to talk to themselves and have that mindset. You have to tell yourself that you're confident, you can do it. People think it's a joke, but it's not a joke. It has to be taken very seriously. So be careful how you talk to yourself because you are listening. Now, mistakes are not a problem, but not taking opportunity to learn from them definitely is. And it's far better to do something imperfectly than to do nothing perfectly. Why do you want to be absolutely perfect? Even in imperfection, there lies beauty. And in imperfection, job, at least you have learned something and you have moved ahead. It's something is better than nothing. So move ahead and slowly things would be perfect also. And we are products of our past, but we do not have to let our mistakes define us. We need to move on always. Now, this aspect is very important, your emotional quotient, your emotional intelligence. So often, when we are faced with difficulties, and somebody, even if someone says, oh, I think you've put on weight, we are into pieces. Oh, I think you cannot do it. We actually start believing the other person. So, why should we believe the other person? Why can we not have confidence in ourselves? So, we must learn to deal with our emotions in an effective manner. Don't be too harsh on yourselves. Do not be too critical about others also and situations also. Like I said earlier, analyze well, think about situations, and then move ahead. If you need help, seek help, take advice. Now, this is a very important aspect. And even in a school situation now, we have appointed a lot of counselors. You know, when a child goes to a counselor and when we offer this help, quite often the parents say, no, no, we don't need this help. Because we think going to a counselor is something very bad, which in fact is not. If you need help, take help. Number of suicides in India, they are pretty high because people do not talk to others. They do not want help and they stay in this denial. As long as you are in the self denial, you do not acknowledge there is a problem, and you do not accept that you need help, how will you seek help? There is nothing wrong with your head, nothing wrong with you, no issue. But in case you need somebody as a sounding board, do so. But when you're taking advice, be careful about the people that you select. Quite often in my morning assembly, I tell my girls this. They generally like to whisper to the best friend. And when they whisper to the best friend or friends or something, they're not always the best people to advise you. You have to find out people around you who are actually very supportive. Those people should be positive people by themselves. And they should not be reminding you about your weaknesses. In fact, they should show you the right path, the focus. They motivate you and they do not let you go down. So, people from whom you are going to take advice should be very sound people. It should not be disclosed to the others. It should stay within them. And that is what is going to help you. Plan well. Has anyone achieved anything without planning? I doubt. Planning is so essential for an organization, for an individual. Don't we plan out the entire day? Sometimes I feel even God has planned out. After morning comes afternoon, evening, and night. It's not that suddenly, after morning, evening will come. There is a plan. Even the nature has plan. Even as we grow, there's a plan, right? So then the flower will come out, and then the maybe the petals will wither away, and then the fruit comes, and then it becomes a fruit. At the right time, it will be ripe, and then you can have it. And again, the seeds. So there is a plan. So planning is very important. But when you're planning, weighs all the pros and cons. Do not be hasty. Think. Even if something is going wrong, acknowledge that, understand that part. And when you're fixing the goals, those goals should be very realistic. Of course, you can move the yardstick each time, but those goals have to be achievable. Like when we talk about children, sometimes I see children who are perhaps not doing very well in mathematics. We say dream. Only when you dream, those dreams become realities. Yes. But after dreaming, are those realistic goals? By realistic, I do not mean that always they should be very close only. They can be a little far away also, and only when you dream do you achieve them. But maybe these two statements are very contradictory. But those goals should be achievable so one step at a time. So, in the beginning, when you go, you have to have a goal which has to be realistic and achievable. Slowly, you move the yardstick. And when you move it slowly, perhaps you can achieve it. And in the beginning, only if you think about, be very ambitious. Like if you are a 50, 60%, perhaps you should think about 5% more or 10% more. Or if you're reducing your weight and you're saying, okay, 20, 30 kgs I'm going to lose. No, think about 5 kgs, 2 kgs, 3 kgs. Think about it. I'm going to write a novel. Pick up your pen, start doing at least 5 pages, 10 pages per day. So if you have small goals initially, in the beginning, perhaps you will move ahead. Work hard. Whoever got anything on a silver platter except you? And even the people who have achieved something, they have to work very hard. I am with an organization which is under uh, the famous Birla family. And let me tell you, I find them all working very hard. So even those Ambanis are working very hard, and I'm sure Tata's also working hard. And all those who are running big business houses or big organization, they work very hard. You really need to find out about the lifestyle of people who have achieved it big in life. They always work hard. They get up early. They have a very structured life. They also party, but you only see the party part. You don't see the uh, part where they worked very hard or they're working very hard. As you grow up in life, the responsibilities increase and your time is not your time. The me time starts decreasing. But then you have to find pleasure in that only. It has to be your passion, whatever work you're doing. And then that working hard becomes such a pleasure. And as you achieve one goal after the other, it becomes absolute delight. When you're working, I remember going to Singapore and they told us one thing. And so I had attended this management workshop and they said, you should focus on your strengths and not weaknesses always and see what you can do. Many a times when we start something, we don't see where lies our strength. And it also happens in our school also. Many a times when children are talking about this stream or that subject or that, because my friend has taken it, or I want to do something because my brother has done or my sibling has done. No, but is that your actual strength? And this question we ask people often. Your career choice has to be on your strength. Any new startup has to be on your strength. If you will start on weaknesses, by the time you cover your weaknesses, where have you been successful? It is better to be a big fish in a small pond than to be a small fry in a big ocean. So focus on your strengths. Even in a school situation, when we are allotting portfolios to our teachers and we are working, what we see is we work on strengths. And I do believe in one part in life. God has been very kind to all of us, to every single human being on this earth. All of us have certain strengths. People need to see those strengths, whether as a leader, we are assigning roles to people, or you are starting on something or yourself. So, if you work on strengths, you will definitely do better. See what you can do, not always what you cannot do. The obstacles that you encounter do not define you. What you do in spite of those obstacles is what defines you. Always remember this part. So, there's something called resilience. We have been talking about resilience, and this has been coming quite often in our day to day conversation. And why is this resilience very important? Looking at COVID around us, why do you think some people have succeeded? Look at the schools. Some of my teachers, they had issues regarding using digital platform. It's not that they were not they did not know about it, but were they very proficient? There was a question mark because you have people of all shades, of all age group, all caliber. So they had this thing. But once you have steeled yourself that yes, I am going to go ahead, you can always move ahead. And in that context, I would say your health is very important. Your physical, mental, emotional health is so important. You need to have that tenacity, persistence, optimism to move ahead. Small setbacks would be there, but you need to bounce back. If collaboration is needed, kindly go ahead. You need support, take that support. Don't let your ego come in. Don't feel shy. But you should know where to collaborate with the people. That is very important. The vision has to be there, the purpose and the goal when you're moving ahead. Composure is so important. I have spoken about it. Nowadays, you need to be very calm and in control. Let me tell you, when I enter school early in the morning, one after the other, at least 20 to 30, 40 things they start early in the morning. And that is the time as a team, all of us, we sit down and one by one we resolve all issues. And we say, yes, we have to do it because we are 4,000 people strong organization. And if we think the problems and issues are not going to be there, then we are sadly mistaken. There are always challenges. To get people on board is a big challenge. When you're working in a team, it's a big challenge. But then we need to stay calm. And when we are more at peace and we are working calmly, understanding that yes, issues are there, just like after every night comes morning, right? And there's a silver lining after every cloud. Behind every cloud, we also have to understand the next day things will resolve, perhaps not to our liking, but something will happen and it will be a beautiful day. And this is the reasoning that we need to have. So, if we follow these certain things that I'm talking about, it will lead us to success. Now, success is try, fail, succeed. We talk about always. We always say, no, that if you fall down, perhaps those mistakes or failure is a pillar to success. We will move ahead. And success is connected to action. Successful people keep moving forward. They make mistakes, but they never ever quit. In fact, when we have the sports and we have races, so when children fall down, we always tell our children, even if you have fallen down, and even if you are the last person, remember, you have to reach the end. Life is also like that. Life is not a race, life is a marathon. You need to go on. If you will remember that life is not a race, it's a marathon, move at your pace, but move ahead. You will succeed. And this is what I would like to say. The road to success, wow, that's the biggest speed bump I've ever seen. Of course, challenges are there. So many other things are there which I've spoken about. Right approach, don't quit, solid foundation, taking action, self praise, pat yourselves at the back. So often we need it. And meet people who always praise you. And sometimes they praise you. When children go for the board examination and they're having that self doubt, what I tell them, all those uncle, aunts, people who ask you, oh, will you be able to do it? How will you do it? Don't speak to them because they bring you down. Anyone who says, yes, you can do it, only speak to those people. Because so close to something, if you go down, is such a problem. So have clear objectives with commitment, well defined goals, move ahead. And success is just like an iceberg. So many times we see people successful, but what we see is at the top. And like an iceberg, 9/10 of it is actually down, which one can never see how that person has worked. We only see the best part, whether we are talking about Shah Rukh Khan or a scientist, and we see, oh, they've done so well. Pick up books, find out how Einstein worked. Why that? When we also talk about writers, find out how they failed, how many times the manuscript was rejected. The publishers wouldn't agree. And finally, they had the right click at the right time and they were at the right place, and things went and they were actually able to succeed. So, these are very few things that I would like to say, and I am sure we can succeed if we really want to succeed. So, Preena, these are very short things which I have spoken about. It's over to you now.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was totally inspiring. We all need a dose, almost every day. We need this dose of
Absolutely.
motivation
Yeah.
because we humans, we read a lot, we watch movies, read books, read, motivating quotes, but, falling hard and not able to rise up from that situation is sometimes very disappointing.
Yeah.
So we do try to be positive, but at the back of our minds it's always somewhere a single thought, a single negative thought actually makes us we just give up. How we can just stop ourselves
Yeah.
from not going towards the direction, a quick a magic wand kind of thing that we can use to be on
Yes.
track.
You see, we belong to a land where we have yoga, right? So we need to practice that yoga going very quiet. And in all our classes, let me tell you, we do that after school hours or in the beginning. We just ask everyone to go quiet. start breathing if it's at the 11th hour. You see, you need to have very calm and you need to be calm and composed if you are actually just about to embark onto something. It is needed. And that is the time when our mind is racing with all the negative thoughts. What if this goes wrong? Or what if that goes wrong? But think about
Right.
it. When it happens, it happens. You know, we die only once. But why should we die every single day is my question. Can we not
Totally.
live every day? We live every day, but we forget to live. And we only think about the death and the fear which is there. So it's kind of a mindset how you frame, I mean, how you steel yourselves. And to say that, of course, we are not plagued by negative thoughts or I am not plagued is not correct. We are all plagued by those thoughts, but we need to put them on one side and say, yes, I do know that that thing is there, it can happen. But at this juncture, at this moment, let me move ahead and do what I am doing. And
True.
if my goal and path is important, let me move ahead.
Absolutely. We need to accept it first because we never do that. We try to ignore that, no, this cannot happen. We have
Right.
to accept
More
and
certainly.
beautifully explain that how we have to accept, how we have to acknowledge, how to planning is very important, analyzing, and then you have to work hard. Without working hard, I think nothing is possible. So we do
Absolutely.
have tough times. It happens with all of us, no matter how strong or powerful or confident we are. Tough times will come and go. It's just that we
Yes, we
have to
face
keep
it every
ourselves.
single day. Look at this because of this coronavirus. The
Absolutely.
planning when it started, how to give the papers, how to carry out classes, how to train everyone, how to reach out to the parents, how to reach out to children. And if we are thinking children back home are not facing issues, they are facing issues, how to resolve those issues, which we are doing at every given step because we cater to society. And if we are a social organization, we have to reach out to children, to people, and mitigate all those things and support them at every step. So the support is also very important. And perhaps your the organization is doing it very well, I would say, by carrying all these things around by all your shows that you're conducting. Even if people follow one or two points from whatever is being said and good things are being said around them, perhaps, it's a step forward.
Very true. At least we can start. At least we can try. If you're not going to try, we're going to be in that exact same place, and then we complain. So that's kind of unfair. But again, it's not an. It's a ongoing process. That's how we learn. So I would like to thank you for giving us your time and sharing such wonderful things and motivating all of us. We all need this. So everybody who is with us right now, just keep going. Do not give up. And I just came across a very known quote by Sir Winston Churchill. A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty.
True.
So, on that note, I would like to say thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us on this platform.
Thank you, Preena, and thank you to your organization for giving me an opportunity to express my thoughts. And of course, I do hope you're able to transform education and we move
Together we
ahead.
can. Yes, together we can. Absolutely. The pleasure is all ours, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks,
Thank you
everybody.
so much. Thank you.
Stay safe and stay positive. Bye bye.
Bye bye.